This all started when I joined my high school's robotics club, where they built a 15-pound combat robot. But their robot kinda sucked, so I wanted to build my own. I decided I would build a 1-pound robot because they're relatively inexpensive and have tournaments everywhere. Next, I needed a design. There are two major combat robot types, the vertical spinner and the horizontal spinner. Vertical spinners are great until they have to turn because the gyro effect of the weapon lifts one side of the robot. Horizontals are great for maneuverability, but are vulnerable to wedges. Then the first video of the 250-pound robot Orbitron was released. Orbitron uses two vertical spinners that eliminate the gyro effect by spinning them in opposite directions. That gave me the idea for the design of my robot, but instead of independently powering the two weapons, they're powered by one motor and connected by a gear. This way, they could each be lighter, but the total energy stored would be the same, and when one weapon makes impact, the energy of both weapons would be transferred into the hit. My weapons were milled at my school out of grade 5 titanium, and I had Sen-Cut Send make the gears, also out of titanium. And when those arrived, it was ready for the first test. So it turns out, when this one hits up, the other weapon wants to eject from the bot and the PETG is not strong enough for a weapon mount. I redesigned the weapon mount for like the 10th time with carbon fiber and aluminum reinforcement. With these new modifications, it was ready to test again. That went well, except my robot was stuck upside down. To fix this, I made an anti-flip horn. Finally, I would get to test my design concept against other robots at the Spartan Bell Slugfest in San Jose, California. Because of its counter-rotating weapons, I named my robot Counter-Revolutionary. My first opponent was Achilles, the robot I was most afraid of. Achilles is an undercutter with a very heavy weapon and a 250-mile-per-hour tip speed. Here's how it went.
3, 2, 1,
Achilles got under my wheels, so my drive was gone on one side. At this point, I was just hoping Achilles would self-destruct, but in the end, he landed a hit on my weapon which disabled it, and I was knocked out. That fight completely destroyed every plastic part in my bot, so I had to rebuild it in the 30 minutes till my next one. Now that I was in the losers bracket, I would be facing less competitive robots. My next opponent was Day Shadow, whose driver told me Counter-Revolutionary was their most feared opponent.
Fight starts in 3, 2, 1. Fight, robot, fight!
I was afraid of self-destruction, so I tried to keep on the aggression. There you go. I landed a good hit on her weapon and not wanting to take any more damage, he tapped out. This fight went well, although I was hoping my weapon would be more effective. My next fight was against Ground Game, which worried me because I had no forks. However, in their last fight, their drives got damaged, so they weren't in top condition. My strategy here was to just avoid their forks. this point, my weapon started struggling, and after one good hit, I shut it down to avoid flying.
Back, yeah. Woo!
I had the pushing power advantage, but this being my first tournament, I didn't know pinning for a full 10 seconds gives an extra point. The fight went to the judge's decision, and Counter-Revolutionary was declared the winner. After the fight, I found out my receiver caused my weapon failure because one of the many exposed wires shorted the receiver. With that issue fixed, it was on to the next match, and my opponent was Vector, a very powerful drum spinner. He has his own YouTube channel, which I found months before the event. He makes some of my favorite combat robot videos out there, so it was awesome to get to fight him and be featured in one of his videos. Just like Vector dreamed of fighting Cheesecake and ended up doing so at Robo. At this point, I knew Vector had the tip speed advantage, so I decided to go full reverse on my weapon and see what a weapon-on-weapon contact would do.
Go back there.
Uh-oh, yeah, right. Uh-oh. Whoa.
It didn't end well. The bolts holding the gear to my weapon sheared, and Vector pushed me into the corner where my mangled base plate prevented my wheels from making contact with the ground. This fight also showed me that my drive was too slow, as I could do nothing to avoid getting hit. Counter-Revolutionary was now out of the tournament, but with 3 wins, one of which my opponent had to forfeit before the match, and 2 losses, Counter-Revolutionary secured 5th place out of 15 competitors. It was better than I expected for my first tournament, and I learned a lot from it. To be honest, I don't think my geared counter-rotating concept has a chance at a podium because it is just too complicated and cannot self-right with forks or a wedge attached. To be competitive, those are almost always necessary. As it turns out, the counter-rotating weapons are too light and don't spin fast enough to have a significant gyro effect in the first place. But I have a working robot, and I've already invested a lot into it, so my plan is to build a counter-revolutionary version 2 that doubles the weapon and driving speed.